At exactly 9 p.m., the world stood still. Every television station interrupted its programs with the same heartbreaking announcement. Alexander Voss, one of the richest men on Earth, had died in a devastating private helicopter crash. Within minutes, social media exploded. World leaders sent condolences, financial markets panicked, and millions mourned the man who had built a global empire from nothing. But hidden beneath the smoke and flames was a secret no journalist could uncover. This was no ordinary accident. It was the opening move in a deadly game. While the world believed Alexander Voss had taken his last breath, the billionaire was about to begin the most dangerous mission of his life. By sunrise, every corner of the globe knew the name Alexander Voss. Giant news screens displayed his photograph as people gathered in silence. Employees wept outside company headquarters. Investors feared the collapse of his empire. News anchors called him a visionary, a legend, and a man whose influence stretched across continents. Yet, behind the headlines, someone smiled. Hidden from the cameras, powerful enemies celebrated what they believed was their greatest victory. They thought the king had fallen. They had no idea the king was still watching. High above the city, inside a luxurious penthouse office, Victor Kane slowly poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey. He raised it toward the television as Alexander's face appeared on every channel. To the world, Victor looked like a grieving business partner. But behind the closed doors, he celebrated. For years, he had hidden his ambition behind loyalty. Tonight, he believed the empire finally belonged to him. What Victor didn't know was that the man he had betrayed had already planned 3 moves ahead. 3 days later, thousands gathered to honor a man they believed was gone forever. Black luxury cars lined the entrance to the Voss estate as billionaires, presidents, celebrities, and ordinary workers stood side by side in mourning. White flowers surrounded an elegant casket beneath Alexander's giant portrait. Television cameras captured every emotional moment, broadcasting the funeral live across the world. It was a farewell fit for a legend. Yet among the crowd stood one silent figure who knew the truth. Hidden beneath a long black coat, dark sunglasses, and a felt hat, Alexander Voss stood only a few meters from his own casket. No one recognized the man they had come to mourn. He quietly watched friends cry, rivals pretend to grieve, and enemies celebrate in silence. Then his phone vibrated. A single encrypted message appeared on the screen: "They know about your daughter." Alexander's heartbeat quickened. His fake death had protected him, but now the person he loved most was in danger. The real battle had just begun. Far from the flashing cameras and billionaire boardrooms, a young woman named Emily lived a quiet life as a school teacher. She had never cared about wealth or power. To her, Alexander Voss was only a famous businessman she had seen on television. She never imagined the man the world mourned was her own father. For years, Alexander had secretly watched over her from a distance, believing that staying away was the only way to keep her safe. But the moment his enemies learned she existed, everything changed. Emily was no longer invisible, she had become the most valuable target in a deadly game. Only a few streets away, a black luxury SUV remained parked across from Emily's apartment. Behind its tinted windows sat Alexander Voss. Hidden beneath his disguise, he watched as Emily laughed with her neighbors, completely unaware that her life was about to change forever. Every birthday, every graduation, every important moment, Alexander had watched from the shadows. He had sacrificed being her father so she could have a normal life. Now, for the first time, he questioned whether that sacrifice had been worth it. As night fell, 2 black vans rolled silently into Emily's neighborhood. Their headlights switched off before reaching her house. Inside were armed men following one simple order: take the girl alive. They believed Emily was the key to unlocking Alexander Voss's hidden fortune. They didn't know someone else was already watching them. Alexander's instincts told him the attack would come tonight, and he was ready. The first kidnapper reached the front gate. Before he could touch it, a shadow moved behind him. Within seconds, Alexander Voss struck with surprising speed and precision. Years of private security training came flooding back. One by one, the attackers fell without ever seeing his face. Emily heard strange noises outside, but, when she looked through the window, all she saw was an empty street. Her mysterious guardian had already disappeared into the darkness. After saving Emily, Alexander drove to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of the city. Beneath the cracked concrete floor was a hidden elevator leading to a secret underground vault. Inside were billions in gold, encrypted hard drives, classified documents, and evidence powerful enough to destroy everyone responsible for hunting him. Looking at the screens around him, Alexander made a silent promise. He would stop running. The time had come to take back his empire, and protect his daughter at any cost. As the massive vault doors sealed shut, Alexander activated a hidden server that had remained untouched for years. A holographic map of the world lit up the room, revealing secret accounts, encrypted transactions, and a network of corruption stretching across continents. Every stolen dollar, every betrayal, and every lie was recorded. Victor Kane believed he had taken control of the empire, but he had no idea Alexander possessed evidence capable of destroying him forever. The countdown to justice had begun. Miles away, Victor Kane hosted an extravagant celebration in his luxury penthouse. Investors, politicians, and influential business leaders toasted to what they believed was a new era. Victor smiled as he announced himself the new chairman of Voss Industries. The applause echoed through the hall, but hidden among the catering staff was one of Alexander's most trusted agents, quietly recording every conversation. The next morning, Emily received an anonymous package. Inside was an old family photograph, a silver necklace she had worn as a child, and a handwritten letter. As she unfolded the page, her hands began to shake. The words changed everything she believed about her life. The man she thought was only a famous billionaire, was actually her father. Before she could process the truth, someone knocked on her front door. Emily slowly approached the door, her heart racing. Through the peephole, she saw no one. When she opened it, only a small black box rested on the doorstep. Inside was a discreet communication device and a simple note: "Trust no one. I'll explain everything soon. Dad." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time in her life, she knew she wasn't alone. Inside Voss Industries headquarters, Victor Kane ordered every private investigator, surveillance team, and security contractor to find Alexander Voss, dead or alive. Digital maps filled with blinking trackers covered the walls of the command center. Millions of dollars were offered for information leading to Alexander's capture. As the city became a giant hunting ground, Alexander quietly stepped onto a rooftop, watching the skyline with determination. He wasn't running anymore. He was preparing to strike first. Just before midnight, Emily received one final encrypted message with a location and a single instruction: "Come alone." Her heart raced as she drove to an abandoned train station. Hidden beneath the platform, a secret tunnel led to a secure underground chamber. There, for the first time in her life, she came face to face with the man she had only known from television. Alexander Voss removed his hat and sunglasses. Neither of them spoke for several seconds. A lifetime of unanswered questions filled the silence. Alexander slowly handed Emily a worn leather journal. Inside were photographs, letters, newspaper clippings, and handwritten entries documenting every year of her life. He confessed that he had stayed away not because he didn't love her, but because powerful enemies would have used her against him. Emily struggled to believe everything she was hearing, yet every page proved he had quietly protected her from the shadows since the day she was born. Back at Voss Industries, Victor Kane discovered there was a leak inside his own organization. Security footage revealed someone had secretly copied confidential files from the celebration party. Furious, Victor ordered every employee searched and every communication monitored. He didn't know the evidence had already reached Alexander's underground headquarters. Alexander wasn't fighting alone. One by one, his most trusted allies arrived at the underground headquarters: a retired intelligence officer, an elite cybersecurity expert, a former military strategist, and a brilliant investigative journalist. Each had once owed Alexander a life-changing favor. Tonight, they returned it. Together, they prepared a plan that would expose the conspiracy to the entire world. As dawn approached, Alexander activated a secure global broadcast system hidden for years. Every television station, every smartphone, and every financial newsroom suddenly received the same encrypted transmission request. Across the world, people stared at their screens as a countdown appeared. 10. 9. 8. The man everyone believed was dead was about to speak to the world. The countdown reached 0. Every major television network, smartphone, and financial exchange around the world switched to a live broadcast. Millions stared in disbelief as Alexander Voss appeared on screen. Calm and composed, he spoke the words no one expected: "The world believes I died. But I am very much alive." Gasps echoed across homes, boardrooms, airports, and city squares. The impossible had just become reality. Within seconds, the financial world erupted into chaos. Stock prices soared and crashed as traders scrambled to understand what had happened. News anchors interrupted one another while analysts debated whether history's greatest business deception had just unfolded. Across the trading floors, billions of dollars changed hands in minutes, and Victor Kane watched helplessly as his empire began to crumble. Realizing his plan was collapsing, Victor Kane fled his headquarters through a hidden underground tunnel beneath the building. Luxury cars waited at multiple exits while private helicopters prepared for departure. But Alexander had anticipated every move. Satellite tracking and loyal agents monitored every possible escape route before Victor even reached the first checkpoint. Moments later, the streets erupted into one of the most daring pursuits the city had ever witnessed. Victor's convoy sped through downtown avenues while Alexander's trusted team tracked every turn from drones overhead. Sirens echoed between skyscrapers as helicopters illuminated the roads below. Every second brought Victor closer to freedom, or capture. The chase ended on the rooftop of an unfinished skyscraper. Rain poured as Victor Kane stood at the edge with nowhere left to run. Across from him, Alexander Voss slowly stepped forward. Years of friendship, betrayal, ambition, and sacrifice had led to this single moment. No bodyguards. No lawyers. No escape. Just two men whose choices had changed the lives of millions. Rain poured over the rooftop as Victor Kane realized there was nowhere left to run. With helicopters circling above, he finally admitted the truth. He confessed to manipulating company records, bribing officials, and plotting Alexander's death to seize control of the empire. Every word was captured by hidden microphones and broadcast live to millions around the world. The lies that had taken years to build collapsed in a single night. Moments later, law enforcement officers arrived from every direction. Victor Kane was taken into custody without resistance while investigators secured years of evidence from his offices. Around the world, employees of Voss Industries watched the live broadcast with relief, knowing the company had been saved from corruption. For the first time in years, justice was no longer just an idea, it was reality. As dawn broke over the city, Alexander met Emily at a quiet hill overlooking the skyline. There were no cameras, no reporters, and no bodyguards, only a father and daughter sharing the sunrise. Years of silence could never be erased, but they had something even more valuable: the chance to build a future together. For Alexander, this was worth more than every fortune he had ever earned. Months later, Voss Industries opened a global foundation dedicated to education, innovation, and opportunity. Emily became its first director, determined to help young people build brighter futures. Alexander stepped away from daily business, choosing to spend his time mentoring entrepreneurs instead of chasing more wealth. His greatest investment was no longer money, it was people. The world will always remember Alexander Voss as the billionaire who faked his own death. But those who knew the full story remembered something greater: a father who risked everything to protect his daughter, a leader who chose truth over power, and a man who proved that the greatest legacy isn't measured by wealth, but by the lives you change. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. More unforgettable billionaire stories are coming soon. Until next time, remember, every fortune hides a story. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next billionaire story. We upload emotional stories filled with suspense, success, life lessons, and unforgettable endings. Tell us in the comments. What was your favorite moment in this story? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.